And we're back with another season of a special campaign, Future Female Forward, where the conversation centers around gender parity and equity. I caught up with Novartis India's Anjali Rao and Vaishali Iyer and spoke with them about how their organization is cementing parity in the workplace. Take a look. We are back with another special segment of Future Female Forward. It's a CNBC-TV18 campaign where we put the spotlight on women, leadership, gender parity and the challenges that women face. I have two very special women with me today. Anjali Rao, Country Head People and Organization, Novartis India, and Vaishali Iyer, Country Head Communications, Patient Engagement and CSR, Novartis India. Thank you so much, Vaishali and Anjali, for joining us on this special segment. How are you doing today?
Very well, and thanks for having us over.
Yeah, we're really good. Thank you for having us over.
Thank you so much for joining and making time. For the benefit of our viewers, I would like to start with this question. In one line, if you could explain what you do at Novartis.
Okay, I work towards people, patients and communities to just drive impact from Novartis.
Okay.
And what I do is I ensure that people within Novartis are well taken care of. Their needs are met, they're productive, they're happy, so that they can do all that we want them to do outside of Novartis.
Lovely. Now that we know, I want to understand from you both, what is Novartis doing and what are the steps that Novartis has taken in order to ensure more women participation in the workforce?
You want to take it?
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so ensuring that we have a diverse workforce is a cornerstone of our culture at Novartis, right? And that basically means we make sure that culturally everybody is welcome. And in that, we take a lot of initiatives within Novartis to starting from how we pay, to how we hire, to how we sort of ensure that their performance is nicely managed, to ensuring that we provide all the right benefits and all of that. But the one thing I do want to mention, Archana, in this regard is Novartis has signed up to be part of the United Nations Equal Pay Coalition back in 2018, and we are on a journey here. And in this journey, one of the most important things we're trying to do is, from a pay standpoint, we are trying to ensure that there is pay equity through and through, which simply means that we want to ensure that men and women are paid equitably for the work that they do, for equal kind of work, right? And in that regard, there are a few things we've done, starting with ensuring that there is pay transparency. You know, we ensure that when we are recruiting, we do it with very less to absolutely no bias, ensuring that we are, taking care of women's development and progressing them to higher levels of management. And also within Novartis, ensuring that we are providing equal opportunity for women to grow. Right? These are just a few. And I will, ask Vaishali to add a little bit more on the other initiatives.
Yeah, so, at Novartis, we have a lot of these programs for accelerated women leadership programs, where we actually get people from the middle management to understand what it really takes to get onto the leadership level. And there is constant intervention around different facets of development. So it's not necessarily just performance. It could be overall development, and we actually figure out and we have conversations with our associates to really understand what are their development needs and then have customized programs around it. And one of the pieces that, as we talk about a diverse workforce and gender equality, where we're coming towards, in leadership today, as we speak, we have 60% of women leaders in our country leadership team. And yesterday we had our meeting and we were actually discussing how do we make it 50-50. So, that's how it is. So and this is a journey, right? I mean, we started this around 2018, and it's been a constant effort to make sure that women representation goes higher and higher.
Right. So, I've spoken to a lot of leaders, irrespective of their gender. They have faced challenges, but there have been leaders, women leaders, who have said on account of their gender, there have been prejudices. There have been certain snarky comments that were passed while they were starting to lead their teams. In your personal life, if you're comfortable sharing these experiences, have you faced any challenges or biases on account of your gender?
So with me, honestly, no. I have been treated very, very fairly, whether it is Novartis or by earlier organizations that I have worked for. But one anecdote that I would like to really share over here. So very early in my career, you know, it was quite male-dominated. The whole environment was very, very male-centric. So whenever we have these events or meetings, typically the menu card would come to me, just because I was a woman. And then I just made a choice. I said, that is something I will not do because you're not coming to my home.
Yeah.
And that's a call that I've taken. I've stuck to it now for the last 30 years. And I just don't do that. And now people around me know that I don't do that. So that's how, you know, I think in leadership and when it particularly comes to gender biases, women have to stand up and say this is not acceptable. It's about where you start the line and where you draw the line and say stop. So I think that's something that we need to do ourselves.
Do you have a red line that you have drawn in your...
Yeah, you know, it's not so much a red line as much as it's about really breaking first the stereotype in your head, right? So sometimes, of course, right, we are surrounded by stereotypes. But sometimes we are so surrounded by stereotypes that you start narrating that same stereotype story to yourself. And then that becomes a little bit of a boundary condition in which you want to operate. And I think the first step, at least for me, when I've been growing up and you know, I've grown up here and there are those biases. But every time I went in and I was faced with a bias, I chose to actually challenge that bias. So for example, right, when you have a development conversation about your career with anybody, the normal question comes, right, especially when you are, you know, when you're younger and you're ready to have a child or you are expecting, you're pregnant, you know, the question comes that, okay, so, you know, do you want longer? Do you want to take some more time? Do you want to take up this other opportunity because, you know, you now have a child? And in my head, of course, it was tough. But in several occasions, I said to myself that, yes, I do want to sign up for that opportunity, even though I just had my son, because I want to do it. Not because, you know, I'm forced to do it or have to prove a point, but that was important for me for my career at that time. And just a small story on that. Several years back, I'd had my son, I'd finished my maternity break, I went back into the workforce, and I was put on to handling actually a pretty big acquisition at the time. It was massive, and there was a lot of long hours involved, not to mention there was also travel involved. And actually, due credit to everybody around me, nobody actually even thought twice, you know, to ask me whether, Anjali, do you want to take it up? But there was that self-doubt, should I take it up? Is this the right time? And at that time, I did take it up, and I'm so thankful that I did, because it broke the first stereotype in my head that just because I'd had a child and just because I was coming back from maternity, this is not something I'm ready to take up. So what I did was I took it up, I did the travel, it was tough, but it just made me stronger. It just made me so much more stronger and so much more confident about being sure that even after I've had a child, I have a support system that can take care of my child, and I can come back into the workplace and do challenging work that I enjoy.
What did you tell yourself?
You know, honestly, I'll tell you what I told myself. At that time, I really told myself that, and I said, you know, everything in my life it's not my life. Everything is a part of my life. My work is a part of my life. Being a mother and bearing a child is a part of my life. My marriage is a part of my life, right? And I think when you start saying that to yourself and you compartmentalize what is important for you in your life, I think it just makes you see things better and gets you the clarity of thought to take the right steps and actions.
Yes. And in that regard, no, Archana, we have a lot of programs for our associates on unconscious bias and so on. So where we actually train people how to think, how to be more inclusive at the workforce. And that is one reason probably within Novartis we never have these conversations. You know, I mean, my 12 years at Novartis, and I don't think there was a conversation of saying that you won't be able to do it. Yeah. In fact, the conversations are the other way around, that if you've raised your hand, what can we do as an organization to support you to succeed? So it's very, very inclusive, very supportive, and that allows people to be themselves, have the appetite of making mistakes, fail, and just be resilient to get up and move again. So I think that's the cultural fabric that we are building in the organization.
Right, amazing answers. I had absolute fun while interacting with you. Thank you so much for making time, Vaishali and Anjali.
Thank you.
I hope that this conversation inspires other women also who are watching this broadcast. Thank you so much.